said I had an illness, which was cancer.
Hey y'all, it's Silly Girl Blue, and today we're going to talk about how Brittany Miller lied about cancer, had a GoFundMe page set up for her from her friends that collected around £200, which she never cashed in. For starters, if you don't know Brittany Miller, she is a British influencer and she just posts herself cooking and dishing up dinner and eating dinner. And she's known for she makes all these faces and she says unreal when she's cooking. So we'll look at some of her videos.
It's lunchtime for the whole family, and we've got a gorgeous fryer. I've done some gorgeous cooked. That's my lunch. Unreal!
Let's listen to her tell the story in her own words and then we will discuss.
Okay, so I never wanted to talk about this time in my life because it was a very difficult time for me. But I owe it to my followers and people that support me to tell you my truth. I also want to put a stop to the people that are twisting and exaggerating what actually happened. So I'm just going to go from the beginning. So back in 2017, I had extremely bad mental health. And at the time I didn't realise how bad. But it was bad. I was depressed, I was suicidal, I was lost, I was confused. I lost my partner, I lost my job. And there was lots of things in that year that led me to be mentally ill.
It would seem here that she's admitting that she was almost kind of crazy.
I said something to someone within my immediate circle in confidence. One stupid sentence that I deeply regret. I said I had an illness, which was cancer. I didn't do this for malicious intent or to scam people. I did this out of desperation. I did it to keep the people close to me, to keep the people in my life close to me.
She was doing this to collect attention from people and to keep people close to her. Sounds to me like she was extremely insecure and not emotionally stable at all.
I don't condone it. I understand why I did it. And I've learned from my mistakes. This was not a long-running scam or a manipulative story like it's been made out to be. The people that I told then told a couple of others. And there was a fundraising page made on behalf of me, which I knew about. And as soon as I saw there was donations, there was 2 donations, I had the page immediately shut down and I didn't take a penny from it.
This is the part that really interested me because she took on the shame of admitting her lie as soon as she saw people fundraising or giving her money instead of continuing to lie, which I think takes a load of courage, honestly. So this is the GoFundMe. It says we've raised £150 to help financially support my friend Brittany fight gastric cancer. And it said December 2017. The story. My beautiful sister / best friend Brittany is 21 and has been diagnosed with gastric cancer and is fighting for her life. At the moment, she is having radiotherapy to try to shrink the tumor so they can operate. She is out of work and struggling to pay her bills and travel to radiotherapy. Any donations or support would be very much appreciated. Now, the fact that she said she was in chemotherapy or radiotherapy to shrink the tumor to operate is a little bit extreme because what do you mean? If you were just lying about it, you'd be like, I have cancer, I just got diagnosed, but you're really telling a story. So I don't know, guys, you have to let me know what you think because this one is absolutely crazy.
I've grown from this. I am working on being the best version of myself. It took me a long time to understand why I did it. And I forgive myself because I was mentally ill.
We all make mistakes, and the only thing we can do to show how sorry we are for those mistakes is to be better every single day.
And I am so deeply sorry to anyone that I've upset or triggered from saying what I said. I wasn't on social media at the time. This was years before I was even on social media. I didn't do this for likes or followers. And I know how horrible this disease is. And I know how much it affects people. So for that, I am so sorry. I admitted what I did. And I said sorry to the people that I hurt. After it all happened, a year later, I moved away from my hometown because I wanted to work on myself. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be mentally well again. I wanted to surround myself with people that were gonna help me. And I got a job with a fundraising company. And that's how I met Ash. I was able to work for charities. And me and Ash fundraised together for a short period of time. I wasn't good at it at all. But Ash helped me so much.
Sometimes women who don't grow up with a proper father figure can lose their way because they don't have male guidance. And we all know women try to promote shaking ass and being slutty because these women are old and miserable, and they want the younger generation to suffer the same way they did. They want them to be single and not be able to get a husband. But anyways, I think her finding Ash probably was a gigantic help for her because she realized all the lying and manipulating didn't have to happen for her to feel safe and secure.
Him and his family helped me so much, and I'll forever be grateful. He was my light at the end of the tunnel. He helped me be well again. He helped me forgive myself. And although I am so emotional when I talk about this, I am mentally well again. And I'm so proud of where I've come, from being in that dark place to now. And I'm here because I want to be an advocate for mental health. I want to help people because I know what it's like to be in a dark place. And I want to help people. And I also just want to say a massive thank you to all the people out there that support me and still follow me. When you didn't know my truth, you still believed in me. If I could go back and change what I did, I would do it in a heartbeat. It was one stupid sentence that I said almost a decade ago. And I've learned so much from it. And I'm so grateful for you all. And I really love you so much.
So after watching this, do you really think she deserves the hate train being targeted towards her right now? I personally feel like she didn't actually fake cancer. She lied about cancer. So let's look at some stories of people who actually did fake having cancer. First one is Rebecca Gray. She lied about having cancer and she went all out. Let's take a look.
Jane, she explains that things were not looking good for her. She says, "My liver has semi-packed up. I've got blood poisoning. The combination of doing a load of exercise when I didn't have the car yesterday and then drinking was enough to overload it." And then Sean asked what happens next. And she said, "A blood transfusion pretty quickly. They are getting me sorted now. Drugs to help my body process all the waste and painkillers to help deal with how bad I'm feeling. If my organ functioning doesn't improve, then it's much scarier. Dialysis, maybe. If what they're doing tonight works temporarily, then it might only be 24 hours in the hospital. If it doesn't work, then I won't be leaving anytime soon." And during all of this, Sean really couldn't have been any more supportive.
She even went as far as to pretend her hair was falling out by removing clumps of it.
In fact, one time, right after he got out of the shower, she showed him a clump of her hair that she said was on her pillow, which to him at the time was confirmation of what he already believed, that Rebecca had cancer. And in hindsight, I'm sure it was all very strategic.
Honestly, it was probably hair that she just pulled out of her hairbrush while she was cleaning it. Maddie Russo is another big TikToker who actually faked cancer, and she seriously took this to the extreme. She was going to the press and just completely making up stories. It's giving pathological lies.
What Maddie Russo did. So let's talk about it. According to both her TikTok and a local news article that she told her story to, Maddie claimed to have been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer on February 10th, 2022. And in what she calls the worst day of her life, she said that she was sitting in her accounting class when she suddenly gets a call from the Iowa City Oncology Department. And here's what she told the North Scott Press in an article that was published in October of 2022. "It was early in the morning, and I had been anxiously awaiting these test results. My phone rang and it said, Iowa City Oncology. I stepped out of the classroom and took the call. They told me they had found a mass on my pancreas and that I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer. I was terrified, and I definitely still am. I was in shock. I didn't think it could be true. Probably because it isn't. I'm so young, and I wondered how this could happen. I went through all the emotions, and I was pretty numb."
This lady literally faked photos and made real cancer survivors and patients feel like crap in the process because they were like, wow, she's handling herself so much better than I could. And it made them feel insecure.
Felt terrible about themselves because Maddie made life with cancer look so easy online.
I've been keeping busy with doing golf, so I've been golfing, and just when I feel good, just try and golf.
So the fact that she seemed to sort of brag about how she was able to maintain everything and sort of glamorize it all just really pisses me off. And on her pancreas, and she said that the mass was on the tail of the pancreas, and it would end up being more harm than good to try to remove it. And then sometime after learning this, she was told that she had only an 11% chance of survival.
11% chance of survival. Like, she really just picked a number that was random, that wouldn't seem random, even though it's literally the most random. Usually they do percentages in increments of 5, like a 5% chance or a 50% chance. So if it was an 11% chance for real, they probably would have just been like, it's a 10% chance.
So at that point, she goes online and shares this information and makes it a point to say that she doesn't know if she'll live to see the day that she graduates college, gets married, or becomes a mom.
This video disturbed me because her speaking like she has really thought about the effects of cancer on actual cancer patients. And like, how can you understand the horror of that and then just like pretend that it's happening to you when it's not? It's so sick.
And so you can hear it straight from her. Here's a clip from her since removed TikTok page where she talks about her diagnosis.
February of 2022, I had yearly lab work done just with my primary care provider as a standard checkup. And aside from starting to feel just a little bit off, my lab work came back and my white blood cell counts were not in normal range. So further testing was then done. And on February 10th of 2022, quite possibly the worst day of my life occurred. I got the call from my oncologist and they found a mass on my pancreas, and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer at just 19 years old. Scared is an understatement. I was terrified, and I definitely still am. But I'm really glad I went to my yearly health check because it would have been so easy to just skip it and say I'm fine. So please take my experience and get regular lab work done, because the sooner you catch anything that is wrong, the better chance of outcome and survival you would have. And it really could save your life, like it did mine. It's a very lonely and isolating disease. So please don't take for granted enjoying every moment in your life, even the little ones. Please check in on your friends that seem strong, as those people are often the ones that are struggling the most. They appear like they carry it well, however, they are being weighed down. Advocating for other patients and inspiring individuals along the way has been a coping mechanism for me, and I hope this story has inspired you as well. You know, when you get knocked down 9 times up, you stand up 10 more times. Every single day, I go to war with myself because in order to survive, I have to fight like hell. The 5-year outlook of survival is a slim 11%. 11%. At 19 years old, I don't know if I will live to see the day when I graduate college, get married, become a mom, etc. So in the meantime, I fight. I have to be so mentally tough to battle this beast. I might have bad moments of weakness from time to time, but I never give in. Experiencing these obstacles at such a young age has given me incredible drive, determination, and grit. Type 1 diabetes does not define me. Pancreatic cancer does not define me. Leukemia does not define me. I am so much more than these awful diseases, and instead, it's just another chapter to my story.
And just watching her put on this sick performance infuriates me, and I'm sure
Amanda Riley is another person who used fake cancer to get views and money. She took the time to research how pregnancy can mask the symptoms of other sicknesses. She was that invested in this that she was researching it.
I'll be honest, it is really hard to even know where to start when it comes to the deception and lies and manipulation of Amanda Riley. Prosecutors would say that it all began around October of 2012. That's when Amanda made a blog called Lymphoma Can Suck It to detail her harrowing journey with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. So that brings us to 2012. Amanda ends up having a son with Corey, and after he was born, she announced that she had been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And with this news, Amanda decides to start a blog. And this is kind of at the dawn of blogging. She shared that when doctors checked some of her platelet levels, that they noticed something was wrong and that they eventually came to the conclusion that she had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And interestingly, she even said that her pregnancy had been masking some of the symptoms and did the legwork. She was really going from hospital to hospital, taking pictures and collecting whatever she needed to make it look like she had cancer. And I know this all might be really confusing, like how do you do this? But you can be obviously admitted to the hospital for other reasons. And even if it's just...
She also used this lie about cancer to get out of child support by lying, saying that she was in medical debt because of cancer and was going to have to go bankrupt.
That she used this fake diagnosis to manipulate the court into believing that they were unable to pay child support. That's right, people. Under oath, Corey and Amanda stated that they had to file for bankruptcy due to the financial devastation of Amanda's cancer treatments.
This chick came back around multiple times like, who is she? she was like, I only have 11 months left, and then she's magically healed. And then, oh, I only have 8 months left, and then she's magically healed. Like, it's just stupid.
And that's the thing about Amanda's cancer. It was always cured, relapse, or as they put it in Scamanda, terminal, miracle, terminal, miracle. This was just her MO. I mean, she was always on the brink of death. She was weeks or months away from losing her life. And then poof, she was better. She was cured.
Luckily, this lady was actually held criminally responsible because she stole around $300,000 from people under false pretenses. But a lot of these people in these stories that we're talking about never got any sort of repercussions because they didn't technically steal money from people, and it's not illegal to lie.
Money under false pretenses absolutely is. And that's exactly what Amanda did. In September of 2013, a little more than a year after her blog went live, a link to supportamanda.com was added to the front page where people could send donations to help with the cost of treatment and just generally with the cost of life. And the support page reads, everyone was so thrilled to learn that Amanda beat Hodgkin's lymphoma in spring of 2013, but unfortunately, it has returned. The next year will be the battle of her life, and Amanda needs everyone's help. Her treatment plan will require 1 to 2 months of hospitalization in early 2014 to administer 4 rounds of beam chemotherapy and several rounds of low-dose radiation that will kill her cancer cells. These therapies will also kill her stem cells / bone marrow, requiring an immediate bone marrow transplant to bring her back to life. She is beginning oral chemotherapy 9/1 on a new wonder drug, which will slow the growth of her cancer cells while she undergoes surgeries for bone marrow harvesting in the next 4 to 5 months. How can you help? Amanda has been a ray of sunshine in all our lives, and we will continue to share our love and emotional support, keeping her always in our prayers. While we can't control the cancer or the daily toll this battle will have, we can help minimize some of the stress by reducing the financial burden of medical bills and daily living expenses. So open your hearts and help Amanda and her family through this difficult time.
Here we have yet another story, the story of Elizabeth Finch, who was a writer. She worked on The Vampire Diaries, and then she got hired to Grey's Anatomy, and she faked having cancer as a way to gain attention and pity from people, which propelled her ahead in life and her career.
Very impressive to people, and it continued to appear that way for many, many years. But this story isn't just about Elizabeth faking her own cancer. It's about how she used that lie and many other lies that I'm going to get into here soon to propel her own career forward. And as we know, Elizabeth got the job. But, and this was super interesting to me, a few seasons into working there, she was actually let go. This happened when Krista Vernoff, Grey's Anatomy's showrunner, did a blind writing test and only kept the writers that she felt shared her vision. And apparently, Elizabeth didn't share that vision. But, and this is an even bigger but, she was rehired after someone advocated on her behalf because of her miraculous cancer story and her tenacity for work. Had she not crafted this lie, I'm not sure she would have been rehired.
Then, of course, there's the story of Belle Gibson, who created a food app aimed at healthy living that she promoted by saying she had cancer and then used this meal plan to the point that it healed her.
Debut in 2013, and her growth was almost instantaneous. Her account, which she called healing_Belle, was used as a platform to talk about her cancer and how she's been able to outlive her 4-month prognosis through healthy diet and alternative therapy.
That's what she was. And she made tons of money off of this and got tons of like recognition, interviews, and all that fun stuff.
People weren't just buying the app and then not engaging with Belle's story. Most people were downloading it because they had followed her journey and were inspired by her and had sympathy for her. And Belle was just eating that shit up. I mean, here's someone with terminal cancer who is taking matters into her own hands, educating herself, and not only doing it for herself, but educating others, sharing the knowledge, and people were really motivated and inspired by her.
Now, after watching all of these and seeing how far some people really do go with their lies, do you honestly think that we should be hounding Brittany Miller as hard as people are in her comments?
I said I had an illness, which was cancer. So back in 2017, I had extremely bad mental health.
How was she not being sectioned?
I understand why I did it,
I don't.
and I forgive myself. For that, I am so sorry. I omitted what I did, and I said sorry to the people that I hurt.
Whoever said it, omission free senders.
And me and Ash fundraised together for a short period of time. I wasn't good at it at all.
No, you're too busy taking it from me.
But Ash, end of the tunnel. He helped me be well again. I really love you so much. So thank you.
Think about how you would feel if you made a mistake and then years ago and you were so ashamed about it and literally changed your whole life because of it. And then people just start like bullying you because of it and saying that like you haven't changed and you're a horrible person when it's like you probably already thought all those things about yourself. And I don't want to downplay what anybody that really does have this sickness goes through because I personally know it's horrible. Brittany Miller told her friends a lie to garner attention and sympathy because she was in a dark place mentally, which of course she was because healthy people don't lie about stuff like that. But she's actively become a better person and is still trying to be a better person. What's the point of life if it isn't to live and learn? Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom to, see the light again. There was also a random claim thrown out though that Brittany actually stole from a friend while her mom was in the hospital. Can you read the message? It says, "I bloody feel for you. I've been through a very similar experience with her. When told me what she had done with you, I was mortified. She was my so-called best friend whilst my mom was recovering from cancer until she basically cleared my home of stuff whilst I was at the hospital with my mom. Absolutely disgusting." Again, this could be blamed on mental illness and just being in a dark place. If you've been there, then you probably know. And maybe you didn't do something like this, but you've probably done things you regret and wouldn't want anyone to know, let alone relentlessly bully you for. I think women are a lot like they say in the Bible, naturally very manipulative. And honestly, humans in general are just inclined to lie. I think it takes the right person sometimes to help women find the light and the proper way. And it would seem she lacked this in her childhood, which resulted in her having her crisis in her early 20s and then finding herself, which is a pretty common path most people take. Let me know what you think about this situation. If you think it's completely unforgivable or if you think, it was a big mistake that she made and she probably feels horrible about it and that you could forgive her. Yeah, let me know in the comments. It was great talking to you guys and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.